Abby is the real hero in The Last of Us 2, and I will attempt to describe why as quickly as possible. The outline. The reason Joel murdered all the Fireflies at St. Mary's Hospital was because he couldn't stand to live in a world without Ellie. He even remarks that if he could do it over, he would do the same thing again.
If somehow the Lord gave me a second chance at that moment, I would do it all over again.
Joel loved Ellie as his own daughter. Their relationship was forged in the first game, 20 years after his real daughter, Sarah, was killed in his arms. On the other hand, Ellie commits horrendous acts out of guilt and revenge, which made me start to hate playing as Ellie in parts of the game. Basically, it boils down to Joel did bad things for love, while Ellie did bad things out of revenge. Abby is interesting.
What the hell are you doing?
I need you to hear me out.
Like everyone else when I first played as her, about halfway through the game, I realised I would be playing as her for a while when I picked up her first collectible coin. I was tempted to stop playing and look up the ending. Simply put, I hated her. I thought her character was dumb, one-dimensional and uninteresting. But most importantly of all, she killed Joel. I felt I was betraying his memory by playing as her. But this Ronda Rousey knockoff, eventually through about 8 hours of gameplay, changed my mind slowly as the game progressed and Ellie continued to lose her humanity over and over. Abby became the softer and more empathetic character. As the two timelines began to come to a point, I began to root for Abby and began to hate Ellie for poor choices she kept making. She abandons her friends and changed who she was for revenge. The development of Abby. I thought the perspective change was an incredibly ballsy move from Naughty Dog. I hated it initially, but in hindsight I felt it was a great idea to add characters. Abby starts out as a Pantone antagonist with big arms and a mush face, a person you ultimately didn't want to care about. Over time, Abby grew her redemption arc through her maternal relationship through Lev and Yara, two runaway enemy children, as they began to work together through the majority of Abby's section in the game. During this time, Abby's character developed into a compassionate and loyal person whose goal was to protect her friends and look for a hopeful future. Abby shown an incredible amount of growth as she learned to deal with her father's death and eventually found purpose in life even after Ellie killed all her friends. In conclusion, the story made me think a lot about morality and how human beings react to tragedy and grief. When I finished the game, I kept thinking about the old saying, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. And it is true in this case. After what felt like 6 times Ellie tried to kill Abby, when she tracked her down to Santa Barbara, I was just so annoyed at how selfish this lust for revenge had changed Ellie. In the first game, Ellie is set up as a naive and quirky sidekick, but in this game she has no personality and all she cares for is getting revenge at the expense of her friends and herself. Maybe that's the point of this story.
You made him a part of this.
I have never experienced that level of hatred and grief, but while playing I kept thinking that Joel wouldn't want this if he were still alive, and neither would Jerry for that matter. This game felt like the wrap-up for the events that happened at the end of the first game. I do hope there is another game coming down the road, but I don't want Ellie in it. I actually would prefer to see what happens to Abby and Lev, and see if they get to the Fireflies at Catalina Island. Abby won me over in the end. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.